Attention content creators. Are you tired of struggling to get your work noticed, or are you ready to expand? Look no further than Purpose Inspired TV. We offer a unique opportunity to reach a wider audience by being available on Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, and more. But it's not just about exposure. Purpose Inspired TV is dedicated to uplifting, inspiring, entertaining, and educating viewers with positive content. Whether you're a motivational speaker, a musician, an actor, or a comedian, we want to help you share your message with the world. So why limit yourself to social media platforms when you can now be on TV? With Purpose Inspired TV, you can take your creativity to the next level and make an even bigger impact on your audience. Join Purpose Inspired TV and start sharing your content on TV today.
What's up, everybody? I pray everybody's doing well. I really like the way this video is looking tonight. I was adjusting the camera. But anyway, we're going to move forward. I know most of you have heard the comment of turn the other cheek. So what I've been taught over my life, even I read it myself, I saw it myself, and it says turn the other cheek. Actually, as I'm waiting for people to tune in, I'm gonna look it up and read it for myself. There it is, Matthew 5:39. Matthew 5:39. But I say to you, do not resist an evil person, but whosoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. So we think, okay, somebody hit me in the jaw. I'm supposed to take it. That's what a lot of people say. I've seen a lot of other commentaries about that's what it means. So I had to dig into it a little bit. Somebody taught me how to learn. Let me get this video up and ready. What does turn the other cheek really means? It is not what you think. Like I said, we're told we're just supposed to sit there and let somebody hit us in our cheek, and then turn and let them hit the other cheek, and then turn and let them hit the other cheek. Nah, that is not what the Bible says. There's my video right there. So let me get that ready. Let me ask you, what do you guys think? What does turn the other cheek mean? What does turn the other cheek mean to you? Think about it. And I'm telling you it's wrong, so probably what you're thinking may not be the correct answer. So what do you think turn the other cheek means? Video taking a while to come up. Come on, you can do it. Hold on, back up. Okay, I'm gonna show you this video that I made today, teaching about what does really turn the other cheek means. Mendo. Where is it? I'm sorry. Man, how many windows do I have? Audio. Sorry. Share. And let me stop the music. Okay, here we go. I'm going to explain to you what turn the other cheeks means.
Turn the other cheek. Many people view these words as passive. They see it as accepting mistreatment, a meek surrender to aggression. But this understanding misses the true heart of Jesus' message. The phrase often evokes images of a helpless victim, someone who simply absorbs abuse without resistance. But this interpretation ignores the historical and social context in which Jesus spoke. It overlooks the strength and courage embedded within this radical teaching, a courage that challenged the norms of the time and continues to challenge us today. In the ancient world, a backhand slap wasn't just physical violence, it was a deliberate act of humiliation, a way to put someone in their perceived place. The backhand was reserved for inferiors. It was a way for a superior to assert dominance and power. Jesus, knowing this, used the image of a backhand to illustrate a profound point. He wasn't advocating for passive acceptance of abuse. He was challenging his listeners to confront injustice in a radical new way. By saying, "Turn the other cheek," Jesus was urging his followers to refuse to be defined by the disrespect of others, to stand tall in their dignity as children of God. Turning the other cheek wasn't about offering another target. It was about forcing the aggressor to see them as an equal, to recognize their inherent worth. This act in that culture was a powerful statement. It was a refusal to accept the dynamic of superior and inferior. Standing up to disrespect requires immense courage. It means refusing to be defined by the actions of others. It means holding on to your self-worth, even when challenged. The message of turn the other cheek is not one of weakness. It is a call to courage, a call to stand firm in your convictions, even when facing opposition. Understanding the deeper meanings behind biblical teachings is crucial. It helps us unlock the timeless wisdom they hold and apply them to our lives in meaningful ways. Read what the Bible says, learn what the Bible teaches. From the mind of Lil Joe.
All right. Let me get rid of that. So again, like we were taught, many times we were taught growing up that turn the other cheek, meaning if somebody does something to you, you're supposed to be quiet and passive and let them have access to your other cheek. That is not what the Bible teaches. That's not what Jesus was teaching. He was telling you to stand up. So imagine a situation. So back during those days, I think of like wealthy people, royalty, people like that. And they kind of, felt arrogant, felt like they was better than other people. So they would slap someone they would use the backhand and slap someone on the cheek to prove to them and show them that they had more power and authority over that particular person. So Jesus was pretty much like saying, y'all ain't got to put up with that nonsense. So he was telling people to stand up to that, not to just bend over and be passive. So that's what I want to get into a little bit. So I wanted to teach on, expound on that. The Bible is not teaching us to turn. He says turn the other cheek, but it did in our modern day society. The turn the other cheek is a total different meaning from the Bible days. So everything is, greatly different. So let's just dive into it. So that's already number one. I'm 50-some years old, well into my 50s before I finally realized that's really what the Bible was teaching us, is to stand up for your rights, stand up for yourself. So I just started digging some more. So what are some other ways? What was he really trying to teach us how to defend or take care of ourselves? So first I got like 10 things for us to look for and recognize. So if you were the person that's okay, the Bible says turn the other cheek, so I suppose turn the other cheek and let them continue to do disrespectful things to me. Telling you today that's not what the Bible was teaching. So now I got 10 things to help you if that person. I think a lot of people they read that verse, they believe that's what the Bible is saying, but they most definitely wasn't abiding by it. They wasn't turning the other cheek. They say turn the other cheek. They teach the children you're supposed to turn the other cheek, but they wasn't turning the other cheek. But there's still others who were trying to obey the Bible from what it's saying. So they were turning the other cheek in a way, basically being submissive or being submissive to a person that they shouldn't have been submissive to. So here's some little tips for those people who have been struggling with that turn the other cheek, which you're not supposed. You're supposed to stand up and fight for your rights. So okay, let's go with some of these. Let's get rid of this notion that you're supposed to turn the other cheek and be passive and let people walk all over you. So number one, when you are meeting people, when you're different relationships. So I think a lot of these things I'm going to be going over, it's going to be pertaining to everyday life, like people that you meet, people on your job, and people in relationships and in close relationships. So you can use this in all the different areas of relationships. So I'm going with number one, set clear boundaries. You've heard set clear boundaries, but especially when you first meet somebody, everybody's prejudging. I talked one time about prejudging. You're supposed to prejudge. You are going to prejudge. That's nature. You survive in nature by prejudging. But when you're the new person, you're the new kid on the block. You're the new person around. And as soon as you walk in, people are judging you. They're trying to figure out, who you are and where you fit in. There's a whole lot of unseen hierarchies. And there's like, what do you call them? What do they use over in India? Caste systems. There's a lot of different caste systems in different countries. There's a caste system in our country, and there's even an unspoken caste system in a lot of different areas. Like if you go to church, there's probably a caste system. You working on a job, there's a caste system. So, and a lot of times it's not spoken. Is you just fall in your place. So when you are the new kid on the block, come to a location, they're looking to see where you fit in the caste system. Where are you going to fit in the hierarchy? And a lot of that's determined on how you act. Not the way you look is already like one thing that people use. The way you act, the way you carry yourself, and when you open your mouth. I like to be silent as much as possible and as long as possible. As long as you stay silent and quiet, they have a hard time putting you in a particular category. So as long as you stay quiet, you're staying pretty high up on the totem pole until you get knocked down. A lot of times you get knocked down by the things that you say and things that you do. But okay, I digress. Let's go back. Number one, back to setting the boundaries. Calmly let people know what behaviors are acceptable and what behaviors are not acceptable. So a lot of times that's even in relationships. When you get into a relationship, when you get into a relationship, you should let it be known, this is what I'm going to deal with and this is what I'm not going to deal with. And I think I was just having a conversation with some guys somewhere, I forget where. Oh, I think it was my nephew. But we was talking about, he was showing me some videos of these couples pranking each other, doing different things on each other. And some of the stuff I was looking at, I was like, no, I think some of these things that people think is a joke kind of crossed the line. And then even that's like in a relationship I've been in, like, I don't care if you're playing, never include hitting one another. Just like you start off playing, so you start getting used to hitting each other, and then it's kind of like a little love tap at first, and then it can turn to a little sting, and you laugh about it, and then it gets a little bit harder. So it can progress. I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes it could progress to a violent situations. Even by mistake one time, like you play around, and then one of the other hit the other one too hard, and one they still laughing about, and the other one upset because they hit too hard. It shouldn't even brought in hitting in the first place. So that's why I always stood on, like, no, we can play around with a whole lot of other different things, but we're not going to play hitting each other. I've seen too many abusive relationships, and it might have started with playing around. Some might not have, but some of them might have started off just playing around, hitting each other, and it progressed to something worse. I never wanted to have that. So that's one thing I always say. So you can set the behavior. Use phrases like, "I am not comfortable with that," or "Please don't speak to me that way." So if you're in a workplace, you can establish what kind of conversations that you can have, especially if you are, sorry, apologize for that. If you're the opposite sex, and they used to cracking particular jokes, or the last person that was, the opposite sex, they might have been fine with some of the jokes and some of the conversations, and you're not fine with those, you need to establish that, right away. Hey, this is not going to fly. That's not acceptable for me. But what the other person did, they was fine with it. You're not the other person. Let them know you're not the other person. You're not comfortable with it. Please don't talk that way around me. And even it could be, what you call it, when men and women jokes, racial jokes, fat jokes, skinny jokes, any kind of jokes that you don't like. You need to establish that at the beginning, that's not acceptable to you. So, and then we can move on to number 2. Let's use, when you are making these statements, use the word I, the I statements. Use the I statements. Speak from your own perspective to reduce people and keep them from getting all defensive. For example, I feel overlooked when my ideas are not acknowledged. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me, you never do what I say, you never listen to my opinion." When you start with that "you," it's like you start with that finger, and that's the accusation. So that finger right there, that's a finger of accusation, and people get defensive over that finger of accusation. So if you start the conversation off or statements off, if you start with the I, see that finger's not coming out. So that finger's pointing at yourself and not pointing at them. So they're going to get defensive right there. More than likely, they're not going to get defensive if you say I. So that's a good strategy. That's a strategy to use in your marriage, your different relationships. If you want to have a discussion with your other half, some people say their better half, don't come with that. Come with that. Come with the I. I feel, I think, I, and then express what you are going to say, and not with the you, especially that you always, that you always, them's fighting words. When you start off with the "you always do this" or "you always do that," you have always, most of the time it's not going to end pretty if you start off with the "you always." So can we agree? Can we work on using the I instead of you? I think we can make some progress with that. Like I said, that it works on your job, relationships, your siblings, mother, father. It should be just about any kind of relationship that you can think of. And especially if you've been bumping heads, having some difficulties in that relationship, try that tip. come to them with the I instead of you, or even the we need to talk. You can skip the we need to talk. Just I feel this or I feel that. So you just jump on into it and say how you feel about a certain situation, a certain thing. Okay. And whenever you're doing that, whatever kind of discussions, this is very powerful. You need to stay calm and stay composed. I just saw this. Well, it's in the political arena where y'all might figure the people's names out, but there was a particular woman of color that gets kind of fired up when she's talking, and that's kind of been the what you call it. They kind of start to bash her because she's very outspoken and she can get kind of rowdy. So they would say, oh, she's loud and she talks ghetto, she this and she that because she gets fired up. So she was going to have I don't know if it was a debate or a conversation with someone in the other party. But before they had that, let's say it was, I guess it's a debate. Yeah, let's just say debate. I guess she was supposed to be having a debate with this person in the other party. But before they had that debate, the one that was going to be accused of being loud and rowdy, she found out they had she was given a document or something that these other people were going around and was like, okay, what the plan is to make these other people angry and get them loud and rowdy and fired up. And that's all. You just got to say stuff to get them fired up. And then it's going to be, on video. It's going to go viral of them going wild and, getting all mad and angry. But she found out about it and she stayed calm. So when this other person was doing this interview, she was throwing all these words out there, saying all this crazy stuff, trying to get the person upset. And the other person was staying nice and calm. And, I believe the person was trying to figure out why is this person not getting mad and angry. And then when the interview, so it was an interview. The interviewer was letting this one person talk, and then the other person who was supposed to be getting mad and angry and supposed to have been cutting her off and all that kind of stuff, she wasn't doing it. So then when the interviewer gave that person the opportunity, she whipped it out. She's like, whoop, bam. What is that? This is the document that you have been what am I trying to say? Here's a document that they was telling a lot of their people on their side is what to do is to get her and other people like her all fired up and rowdy to make them look bad. So it's like, so we're gonna stay calm and say some mean and nasty stuff, but we still gonna stay calm when we say it. But we know it's gonna get them riled all up. So it's gonna make them look bad. It's gonna make us look good. But it backfired on her. So that, like I said, the woman, she stayed calm. She didn't go off. She showed her the paperwork. So now the person who was supposed to be getting the other one all fired up, she got all rowdy and angry and mad. And I think she left the interview because she was so mad. So it backfired on her. But basically, I was just saying in those situations, stay calm and composed. And sometimes you can run into situations like this on your job where people are setting you up. Sometimes you can run into this in relationships. You might have a person that's trying to set you up, especially if, let's say, in a situation where they are on the way out the relationship, or there's a lot of people that they get in these fake relationships, but I mean, they just get into the relationship for something that they can gain. Let's say a sports. Let's say a guy is in the NFL or soccer. I think they make a whole lot of money in soccer, baseball, whatever. So he's single dude, making a lot of money, and gets a girl, gets a girlfriend. So a lot of these people, they have a plan is to get in, get as much money, attached as they can, then get out. So in some of these situations, They wait, they in there, the dude, especially like these guys that just signed, they just went through the NFL draft. So they're getting a nice little chunk of money. So a lot of these little girls been hanging around. So some of them like, okay, it's payday. As soon as that couple of $1 million check come along, say they want to get their cut and keep it moving. Especially if they don't like the guy. But sometimes, they just there for the money. So they waiting. So they be their girlfriend 2-3 years. Then when that payday kick in, then she got to do something to make him look bad so she can become the victim and get out of there, but leave with a couple $1 million. So that's kind of like part of the strategy, is to get them hooked and attached to you, love with you, and then when you get your chance, now you flip it on them, but you make it look, in front of other people, you make sure you're feminine, so people only see his reaction and not, what you did to cause that reaction. So it's a lot of that stuff that goes on. I've seen some situations. It was I know I'm going way in the left field. It was a situation where a lady did that to a guy, and he was smart. He put his money, I believe it was, sometimes they put it like in the grandmama's name, mama's name. Might have been all the stuff was in his mama's name, but it's wiser to put stuff in a trust. So either way, so I think he put everything in his mama's name. So the girlfriend, and that's the same thing. They're not even married. These people getting millions upon millions of dollars and not even married. Okay, I digress again. That they were dating for about a year and a half, 2 years. He came across, got signed a contract, got hit millions of dollars, and then she was ready to get out. That was her plan. Her plan was like, go ahead and get a couple million from this guy, go to the next guy and get a couple million. So she was going to be going from guy to guy to guy. Mm-hmm. So she had the plan, and I don't know if this is an emergency message. Just a second. What? Sorry. Anyway, sorry. So she had a plan in order. I need to get back on. I'm just on number 3. Okay, finish the story. So she had a plan, dated a guy for a year and a half to 2 years. And when she was ready to go, she started the arguing, the fussing, and the fighting, and the screaming, and all that kind of stuff, because she was ready to go. So then she went ahead. They decided to break up. They broke up, and then she decided to sue to get parts of his millions upon millions of dollars. So they go to court, and she tried to do the how she, I don't know how she played it, and I don't know how her lawyer didn't figure it out first, but it was basically like saying she was used to a certain lifestyle with him and blah 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 blah, and she already had maybe 1 million, but she was trying to get herself, she was trying to get a couple of millions from him. But when they went to court, in the court papers, you got to reveal everything that you got. He was able to show he had no money. She had to show that she had more than $1 million. She had to pay him. Yeah, another situation where it backfired. She had to pay him money instead of him paying her. So, like I said, it's a lot of this crazy stuff that goes on like this. So, again, let's try to stay calm, show respect. Having control earns respect. Keep that normal tone, but a lot of times they can be doing the same thing. They can be staying calm, staying collected, and saying some nasty stuff, but you got to be ready. Got to be ready. But don't match someone's anger with anger or with sarcasm. So you add in sarcasm, you can make things worse. So you're staying calm, and then you saying some stuff that's really getting on their nerve, getting under their skin. Don't do that. Or if they screaming and fussing, that's not going to work either. But I say just stay calm. I pray you have some wisdom and understanding of what's going on before you hit that situation. Because a lot of times there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that you may not know about. All right, moving on. Number four. Number four. Learn to say no respectfully. Learn to say no respectfully. Say it one more time. Learn to say no respectfully. You don't have to explain everything. I'm not able to talk to you about it right now. I'm not able to do this particular thing. I'm not able to go out with you. I'm not able to purchase this thing that you're asking me to do. So it's different things that you can say no, but you can do it respectfully. Or you can say, I'm not ready to do that right now, or I'm not ready to get in a relationship right now. That's saying no, saying it respectfully. You're not insulting someone, or if you know that you figured out the person is just out to get stuff from you, just use wisdom. You can play dumb for a little while, but still say no respectfully. Go gather your stuff, get yourself together, get out the situation if you know that's what it's all about. But stay calm again. And then you don't have to break down with the why. If somebody asks you out and you don't want to go out with them, that's all you gotta say. You don't want to go out with them. And if they with the why, you don't need it. We don't have a why. I don't want to. Let your no be the answer. Let your no be the final answer. You don't have to start digging up stuff, or because as soon as you start digging up stuff and giving excuses, especially I don't know why, but I'm going on this road of if somebody that you really don't you feel like you don't want to be with, or it's over with, it's done. That's okay. That's it. Don't give them so if you start trying to make them feel better, so that's what we do sometimes. We start to try to make people feel better and start saying this is why or that's why, or the reason why we can't go out is because I got to work late on a job. I'm on a third shift now, so now you gave that person some hope, or just anything that you say. And a lot of times what we're doing, we're making up something. We're finding, we digging, we reaching hard to try to come up with an excuse to try to ease the pain, to try to make it somewhere else. Is another issue, not me, it's something else. So as soon as you throw that excuse out, that's giving that person that you're really trying to get away from, you're giving them an excuse to hold on to, something to hold on to. So it's best no. There's nothing else to add to it. Nothing else to add. Because I'm telling you, as soon as you add something, they're gonna jump on that and you write it out. And next thing you know, y'all going out again. But you was trying to end it right then. So end it right there with nothing. That might sound kind of cold, but if you continue to give them reason, this reason and that reason, they're gonna hold on to that and try to keep on coming back. But if you don't want them to keep on coming back, don't give them nothing. Don't give them nothing to hold on to. Don't give them any kind of hope. Don't be, I'm saying we're trying to. I'm telling you, we're being respectful. You're still being respectful, but I think it's being disrespectful when you make up different excuses and say that this is the reason and that's the reason and this and that and that. So that person, especially a man, he's gonna, okay, if that's the reason, I need to solve the problem. I need to get rid of the problem, so then she can be mine. But if she don't want to be given to you, don't give him any false hope. I don't know. This really wasn't a relationship thing, but yeah, don't add extra stuff for the poor dude to hang on to. Moving on to number 5. document important incidents. So now we can be in a talking about a relationship a lot. It could be on a job. If you got some situations going on that that you need to document it, keep records of it. So we're talking especially about work. If someone crosses the line, write it down, or even have a witness to collaborate with your story. Documentation protects you and gives you confidence if you need to escalate it later at a later point of time, especially in the times that we are in right now. The way things are going on, you better document everything. Document everything, and probably even in relationships. Sometimes videotapes saves people. I've seen them. I've seen. I just saw the other day. Remember, I was supposed to talk about Dan. The other day, where the lady was the lady wanted to evict her, but she really didn't have a reason to evict her. So she went to the lady's house, and the lady by happened to have a camera rolling, and she was the landlord came over there and called 911 saying that she was getting hit by the renter, and clearly you see the video that she wasn't getting touched. She was just saying she was getting attacked, she was getting hit. So that video, saved her. The lady said she still moved out. Yeah, it's time. If your landlord is acting like that, it's time to move out. But it was good for her to have that evidence. So she probably would have lost all her deposits, and probably if she got kicked out earlier, she probably was still forced to pay for some more months at this place where she couldn't stay at. So that video saved her from that. And I just was listening to a story. It was a guy online telling a story about how he so he's a person of color, and on his job was to train some of the new people. New people. So he was training this new guy, but the new guy kept calling him Dan. I think, if I'm not mistaken, his name was like Damien or something like that. But the guy kept calling him Dan for like months, 3 months. Kept calling him Dan. So, and then one day they went into the lunchroom together. Everybody, all different races went into the lunchroom, and then the new guy, like I said, he's been there for 3 months or more. He was like, "What's up, Dan?" And he's like, "Man, you've been here for 3 months and you still calling me Dan. That's not my name. Oh, my bad." So everybody in the lunchroom, well, not everybody, a lot of people in the lunchroom started laughing. Most of the white guys in the lunchroom started laughing. So I was like, he couldn't figure out why are they laughing at me. So he goes to the bathroom, and one of the guys, a white guy, came into the bathroom, and he said, "Hey man, I just got to tell you, you know why everybody's laughing at you?" He said, "No, I don't know why." It's because the guy's calling you Dan. Like, why? Yeah, all these months, why is he still calling me Dan? He should know my name is. Like, he knows what your name is, but he's calling you Dan on purpose. And he's like, why? Why does he keep calling me Dan? He said, because, I don't know if I can say this on, Dan means dumb as N-word. Yeah, that's what Dan meant. So it was an inside joke when white folks was calling black people Dans. That's what they was saying. So I don't know if they're calling you Dan on your job, but check it out. But that's what was doing. That's what was happening. So see, he goes to HR and had other people to collaborate. That's what was happening. The guy was calling him Dan for the whole entire 3 months. Day one, he was calling him Dan. So he was being disrespectful, and the guy didn't even know it for 3 months. So he goes to HR, and the HR was like, "You still?" I think they told him like, "You need one more opportunity, another time, to show that he's still doing it." And sure enough, he did it again. And he asked him, "Oh man, I was just joking." So that's what he was saying, he was joking, but went back to HR. So thankfully, guy ended up getting fired because of that situation. But so documenting So there was no need for him to get mad and go off and fight. And so, he could have been the one that was out of a job. He just dealt with it and got it taken care of. But like I said, these days that we're in now, I think it's gonna be a whole lot of more of those situations. Moving on to number six. Number six, use private conversations for difficult topics. Don't let everybody know your business. Whether it's a partner or co-worker, don't confront someone in public or group setting. Speak one-on-one to avoid embarrassing or escalating the situation. So that Dan situation could have been something similar to that. So he didn't have to, like, he was getting laughed at in the public, but he didn't have to run up and get up up in Dan's face and threaten to fight him, that kind of thing. So he did it the right way, going to HR, and thankfully he had a decent HR. So you don't have to do it, address it publicly. I know there's a whole lot of baby mama drama that's addressed in the public that it shouldn't be. So you should take care of that at home or in the privacy. Number 7, ask clarifying questions. This helps diffuse tension and show you're listening. Can you help me understand why you said that? So you're asking great questions, good questions, and listening. So that works. Listening works a lot in relationships. So it worked good on a job, works good in your family. It really works a lot in relationships. So ask the question, especially if you got the question, know how to ask the question the right way. Be quiet, don't interrupt, and listen to the answer. Be prepared to. Some people they're too afraid to go through that situation. They know that that movie. You can't handle the truth. But some people in relationships, some people are in marriages where they know their spouse cannot handle the truth. So they're constantly making up stuff. They're constantly avoiding stuff. They're constantly ducking and diving and hiding, trying to stay away from different conversations, because if they know their spouse really can't handle what you truly feel or what you truly think. Women, it's a lot of men like that. It's a lot of men that's avoiding conversations because my wife cannot handle the truth in this situation, and vice versa. There might be some husbands that the wife, no, I can't talk to him about this. I can't tell him this. He can't handle it. But if you really want to build and have a strong relationship, you need to address stuff that needs to be addressed. All right, moving on to number 8. Use assertive body language. Stand tall, make eye contact, and use a confident but respectful tone. Nonverbal communications matters as much as your words. Remember, we started this off with, it says, turn the other cheek. When the Lord said turn the other cheek, he was not telling you to be passive. He wasn't telling you to be skittish. He wasn't telling you to be scared. He was telling you to turn the other cheek, man. That it's kind of hard to understand because we don't live in a society like that. So back in the Bible days, if I say a noble person or somebody with some money and saw what somebody would quote unquote call a peasant or maybe even a slave, they was slap them they would backhand them. So what the Lord is saying, turn the other cheek, but turning the other cheek was like standing up to the person, and sometimes they back, let's say like I'm just trying to extreme example of like a 100-pound white woman backslap a 300-pound man or 300-pound black man. So she backslaps him, and then she expects him to bow down and what I'm saying. But what the Lord is saying is, and she backslaps him, he stands up and gives her the other cheek. She's not going to hit the other cheek. It's not for her to turn the other cheek. Is not for her. I say her, a person to hit it. It's basically you standing up and you daring that person to hit you again. I double dog dare you to do that again. And I bet you she don't do it again. That's what turning the other cheek is talking about. Standing tall. So it says stand tall, make contact. I can imagine different movies. I'm looking at thinking like Denzel Washington, the way he was looking at that one movie. But yeah, make contact and be confident, even when you're talking confidence. All right, man, this time is slipping away. So we number nine, have a support system. Remember that situation I'm talking about, the Dan situation. He went to HR. HR was on the side, and have some friends that you can rely on in different situations. So if you're going to stand up, sometimes you need other people to stand up too. So if you got 10 people and this person been backslapping all 10 of these people, all 10 of y'all need to stand up. Y'all need to unite. I think y'all seen a lot of this is happening throughout the country and even around the world, where people saying, they're coming together, they're standing together, instead of just watching one get backhanded. They all join the forces. So if one get backslapped, that means all of them got backslapped. That means all of them going to stand up. That's having a great support system. Number 10. Know when to walk away. Know when to walk away. Know when to walk away on the job. Now, you remember, we was watching that playoff game the other night. Can't remember the guy's name. It looked like that guy, he was about to get ejected out the game. And he was the one that got the last scoring shot in at the last half second. He should have known how to walk away. If he would have gotten kicked out of the game, they might have not won the game. But it could have jeopardized his whole team. But sometimes that you're jeopardizing your livelihood, relationships. You could be jeopardizing a lot of things by not knowing how or not knowing when to walk away. Especially men. There are some women that can agitate you, aggravate you. Some, let's say they got a plan. They're waiting for you to go off and go crazy and to retaliate. But you need to know how to walk away before you cross that line. Know how to walk away, know how to leave, know how to get out of the situation. Sometimes the strongest thing that you can do is to remove yourself from a toxic situation without yelling, without arguing, or without even saying anything. If you're married, you could probably say, I'll be back. Leave. I'm gone. Where you going? You're not going to walk away. If you know, if it's done got that heated and that toxic, and sometimes you already seen it in the past, you better leave. Get out the situation. Save yourself. You can save yourself a lot of heartache, save yourself a lot of pain situations. So I hope those 10 things help you. Hope that helps you understand what turn the other cheek mean. But before we go, I want to hit some more points. What if you don't recognize sometimes these situations? Remember the guy? He didn't recognize that Mr. whoever the guy's name was calling him Dan, was being disrespectful for more than 3 months. He didn't know. So what are some situations sometimes where you don't know it, or you feel it? It might be, you're not sure. I'm gonna give you, I think around 5 little situations where you may not know. A lot of times you might know. So let's go. Let's say a person is constantly interrupting you. Constantly interrupting you. Now, it may seem kind of minor, but on a regular basis, they're also cutting you off. That's a signal that your voice isn't valued. They don't really care too much for you. They don't really care what you have to say. So you can see that you're in the conversation. Just say you're at work around a group of people, and one main guy is talking, and then that person talks, that person talks, that person talks. That then as soon as you try to jump in the conversation, he cut you off. That's what it's okay. He doesn't have value or respect. That could be your boss, your supervisor. You can see him listen to other people, but not listen to you. Yeah, that's one. That's a sign. What could happen in the future? You may stop speaking up. You might just stop talking. I mean, so now you come to the meetings, you don't say nothing. So you feel dismissed. So you start to grow resentful and angry. And then maybe when that person finally directly asks you something to say, you might snap and go off, and everybody in the crowd like, what's wrong with this nut? This person hasn't said nothing in 6 months, and now they all of a sudden they snapping on the boss. Why? What's that all about? Because it held it in for 6 months. So that's part of, that's a problem. So what it is so you need to recognize it and probably take it to that person. If that's your supervisor or whatever, take it to them. Hey, and sometimes you could be wrong, but at least it'll be addressed out in the open. And if it was a wound or a sore or something, you got offended, you can start healing. But if you address them and they still do it, you can tell them that they're doing it on purpose. We're going number 2, joking at your expense. Some people know that they're the ones that are getting bullied on, they're constantly getting cracked jokes on. So they say they're just being playful or playfully teasing you or some kind of sarcasm, but it could be a cover up of real criticism or control, or something like they really don't like you, so they can continue to crack jokes about you. Again, it's subtle. Sometimes it's not blatantly out in the open. It could be subtle, and that can happen in all types of relationships. Your family relationship, your siblings, your hopefully it's not your marriage, but it could be an in-law or something, or somebody that every time y'all get together, they're always cracking jokes. I think of maybe 2 people I can think of that would do me like that. Yeah. Anyway, so what could happen in the problem? It could chip away your self-esteem. It could start making you feel bad. It depends on how who is coming from. If it's your mother and your father is doing it to you, that's really going to bother you. And it can lead to tension, or you be embarrassed so when you're around certain people. So let's say it's family member, they can be doing it at home, but you really don't want them to do it when you with your friends and everything. But they're doing it around your friends, so that's a sign of disrespect, and that needs to be addressed. Let's go to boundaries. Number 1, we start off about setting boundaries. So now you done set your boundaries, and let's say the person totally ignore your boundaries. When somebody repeatedly does what you ask them not to do, even small things, tiny little things, it shows lack of respect. People know, especially you said it many times. You could talk again, it could be your siblings, really a lot to do with your coworkers, some coworkers that want to get under your skin, or even somebody, quote unquote, pretend they like you, but they end up doing stuff that you don't like, or that makes you angry. And even your spouse, sometimes if you're not on good ground, your spouse could do that sometimes. So what could cause, it can lead to feeling that they're manipulating you, or you may even feel trapped, especially emotionally. So like I said, in relationships, or even on a job, where this person continuing to cross the boundaries, continue to do stuff, and then sometimes you might have reported, it seemed like nothing don't like nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to help you in that situation. So, let me see, another way of disrespect is not acknowledging you or keeping praise back. Let's say people purposely ignore your efforts. Like you worked real hard and accomplished something great, and other people get a pat on the back or say that was a good idea or that was good. It was a good accomplishment. But then when it comes to you, they don't say nothing to you about it. I even seen parents do that sometimes. Sometimes they don't got a particular kid that they don't like, and they can praise one child, and then this other child can never do anything right. Even if they're doing stuff right, they still can't get it out of their parent. So over time, you might feel undervalued and lose motivation or trust in a relationship. So that relationship could just start falling apart just by it looks like they won't even acknowledge the things that you are accomplishing, things that you're doing. That can even be in a marriage too. You can be doing a whole lot of things, but then your spouse never acknowledge what you're doing. That can chip away from that strong relationship. And number 5, the big one, that's a big one in a relationship, especially marriage, is the silent treatment or passive aggressive behavior. It is in a relationship, you need to have healthy communication. So if a person shuts down on guilt, it's the more, sometimes people think that I'm hurting that other person, but you're really hurting the relationship as a whole. So if issues remain unresolved, the emotional tension builds up and often lead to bigger and other larger conflicts later on. Basically, you have a big blowout later on. So we start up with a person shutting down, not talking, and then you think the situation over with, and it's okay, the situation over with, we're done with. So now both y'all go about your business, but in the back of your mind, it never got resolved. So the person is upset. They are upset. And then when another situation comes up, you think you're dealing with this situation, but you got to deal with those other 3 situations when the person got mad, and you held it in for three different arguments over the last 3 months. And now here come a small situation. Now you're going off on this one, and the person like, why in the world are you going off so bad about this? But it's 3 other situations that happened 3 months ago that they done brought in. So I'm dealing with this, might as well deal with all those other three too. So now you done made a small situation a very bad knockdown, draw out, bam, bam, oh my goodness, what's going on situation. But so it's best to take care of situations right then and there. I know we have been talking about and studying and learning about a lot of different relationship situations. It's one thing that I teach and taught, this thing called relationship landmines, where there's different things in relationship that really didn't get resolved. So we talk about this situation, it's going to be a problem, stuff can blow up. So we hide it. We go in the yard and bury it, cover it up. But the problem is we forget where we buried it at. So you're going through your life and somehow you slip up and step in the area where you done buried it, and now it blows up. Now you're dealing with that. And then sometimes you have a whole lot of landmines out there, and you're tiptoeing around trying to make sure you don't step on something that's going to cause some issues and problems. But hey, it's best to deal with it instead of burying it. So we're going to spend some more time on that another time on relationship landmines. So I hope you learned something about turning the other cheek. Turning the other cheek does not mean you turn the cheek and let somebody else hit you in the face. All right, everybody, have a good evening and be blessed. We out of here.